And even, we were talking a little bit before we got started about you winning Mr. Arizona. So a lot of people would think that just the workouts and the dedication and the nutrition and that kind of thing was the hard thing. And it is, no doubt.
It was really hard.
But what I've found in my life is the harder thing is to have the commitment to bring that, you were talking about bringing that bag of food while you're repping McDonald's and some of these places.
Yeah.
And so you had to have the courage to say, no, I'm not going to eat that with you guys. I'm going to stick to my plan.
Yeah.
And I find that's one of the, at least for me.
Sure. To hold true to your convictions.
Yeah.
And not worry about what someone else is going to judge you or say.
Absolutely. Yeah. To me, that has been for me one of the hardest things. And it continues to be. It certainly was my Achilles heel when I first, got out into the business world and we started our restaurants. The really hard thing was, the courage to be disliked if I needed to send, cut labor and send someone home or, do some of those things. Like that was really hard for me as a new business person. And then as I've gotten older, it's things like that where it's like, hey, someone might judge me, but I'm going to do this anyway.
I think the older you get more comfortable being uncomfortable. And then you start to understand who you are.
Yeah.
And become more comfortable with that as well. Like if I don't do this thing that is important to me, it's not going to help me achieve what I want to achieve.
Right.
So you don't want to you're not directly hurting anybody. Like if I'm carrying a bag of food that I've gone and weighed out to make sure that I hit my goals, it's my goals.
Right.
And I can't worry about what somebody else thinks. Like, no, I'll come to lunch with you, but I'm on this, I got this very clear direction of what my goal is. And I'm following that path. And it's not an insult on you. It's not like we're going to join each other for lunch and you order your lunch and I'll have my iced tea and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, because food can be one of those things. It can be a big trigger. Like I'm sure you had to deal with.
Oh, it was fine.
Like
it's the hardest part was doing it repetitively day in and day out. Like,
but would you sense folks feeling uncomfortable that they're eating the
there's always the sly
thing.
remarks, like, oh, here he comes carrying his cooler.
Yeah. And so I think that's one of the biggest things for folks as they, maybe someone young out there is watching this and your hard thing is making like a cold call. Making that cold call over and over and over, like they can be really uncomfortable. Asking an employee to do something that you're like, we all know we've got that employee that is like not easy to ask them to do things.
Yeah.
And you're like sitting worried about like, should I ask them to do this? Yes, you should.
Yeah.
Like, go right now, go ask that person to do whatever they need to do to help your goals and dreams move the needle. And the rest of your team is waiting on you to do that too.
You got to get better at delegating.
All of it. Like it's just all courage to keep doing the thing. And so I feel like for all of us, and I guarantee you there's a lot of people that are going to sit in this seat a lot more successful than me. And I'd be willing to bet that every one of them has something in them around the same thing of like kind of this courage, courage to be disliked, which is actually a book that I recommend everyone reads.
Courage to be disliked?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I just heard Patrick, what's his name?
Pat David?
Yeah. He was just mentioning it on one of his podcasts.
He was an interesting guy. We had him come speak at our Clever Summit just in September at the Diplomat Hotel in Vegas, where Grant Cardone hosts his 10X conference every year.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful venue. And he came on and he really spoke to the audience. We had about 2,800 people there. It was a 3-day event, and it was our 10th annual Clever Summit. And some of the things that he's been able to accomplish and the way he's instilling that in his family and his kids is really something to, be aware of and take in. It's like there's so much good information out there what really do you want to, convey to the audience today that they take home with, whether that be, on the construction side or correlating some sort of, mindset and business, as it relates to construction? Like how do you stay focused with so many moving pieces in the construction piece? That's always the most challenging piece of a real estate deal is like finishing on time and getting all these licenses and permits and, and just, how do you keep it all?
Well, I'm incredibly blessed in that when I set out to get back into the driver's seat, like, back into the helm of my own business, I set out mainly my number one criteria was to find good people. So I didn't actually go out to find a construction company. It just so happened that one of the first people I called in my search had a general contractor that self-performed drywall on their list of things they were selling. And so I felt like that was kind of the sign, and that although you guys asked me earlier, did I know I wanted to go into construction? I didn't know out of business school that I wanted to be back in construction. I've always been building something, whether it was our restaurants. We did a bunch of single family residence stuff coming out of the crash. Even my job for raising money for the county hospital was to build a new hospital. So at some level, I've always been like in and around.
You're drawn to it.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden that phone call and that there was this construction company for sale, I knew. Like I literally pulled over on the side of the road and like parked the car and just looked up and was like, really? Like, I guess we're going to do this.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, want to catch the entire episode of this Rent Stew podcast, click right here. If you're loving the Rent Stew podcast and you want to see more episodes, click right here. And as always, stay hungry, my friends.